Hello, welcome back to Embodied Light with Gal. I'm your host, Gal Pereno. This is a space where we reconnect with ourselves, deepen our spiritual awareness, and learn how to embody our authentic light. Take a deep breath. Breathe in and out. Soften your shoulders. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Before we dive into this episode, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new episodes. If you are returning, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. In today's episode, we're talking about intuition, that inner knowing. We all have it, but sometimes we struggle to hear it. How many of you have been there? I know I have. A lot of people think intuition is something only psychics or spiritual people have, but the truth is everyone is intuitive. The difference is simply whether we learn to listen or not. And listening, and the interesting thing about listening is intuition is always communicating with us. The question is whether we recognize the language when it speaks, or if we're just too busy in this go, go, go life where we are simply missing it. Intuition communicates through the body. One of the most common ways intuition communicates is through the body, right? The way we feel. How many of you have ever had that feeling where you know that you should have definitely taken a different route home because you feel this gut feeling, oh, take that route. But you're like, no, 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 no. I've always gone this way. So I'm not going to change my mind, right? And then you get stuck in traffic for 30 minutes, maybe an hour or so. Your body is literally incredible. It's incredible, intelligent gift that we all have if we listen to our body more. And often our body knows something is off before our mind catches up to it. For example, that gut feeling when something doesn't feel right? Kind of like the way to go home, right? But it's like it's a feeling of a light, open, and expansive way of when your body is trying to tell you when something aligns with you or when something doesn't align with you, like tightness in your chest or stomach or when something feels off. These physical sensations are often intuitive signals that your body is giving you, right? Intuition isn't super loud. It's very, very subtle and soft, and it speaks through sensations before words. So learning to trust your intuition, to listen to your body comes with having awareness and comes with time. It's making sure you're not always go, go, right? In this busy, busy world that we live in. Intuition communicates through feelings. Another way intuition communicates is through emotions and energetic feelings. Sometimes you meet someone and you instantly feel like you're connected. You feel comfortable. You feel safe. You feel good vibes off of them. And you're also receiving the good vibes from them as you're interacting with them. Or you may feel the complete opposite, meaning uneasiness without knowing why, or you have a feeling of like, I just don't like this person. I don't know why, but my body physically is making me feel a little ill and I don't want to talk to this person anymore. That's your intuition picking up energy and information beyond logic. We're taught to explain everything with reasoning. Why did that light flicker? Or, maybe that happened because of this, to find a reason of why. But intuition doesn't always come with a logic explanation in the moment. It simply knows. Intuition communicates through repetition. What do I mean by that? What I mean is it's another powerful way your intuition communicates is repeating things that's going to happen to you. You may notice the same idea keeps coming back up to you again and again, or the same message appearing, but in a different way, or maybe through a different person. You keep feeling drawn towards something, even when you try to ignore it. So, for example, when I first started down my spiritual growth and my spiritual awakening, I will go to networking events. And I've told this story before. I'm going to share a quick cliff notes of it. And I remember meeting people and they kept saying to me, yeah, I think it's great. You're a life coach. That's awesome. But you're going to feel called to do more. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I love what I'm doing. Like, what are you talking about? And then I would meet someone else at networking events. Like, you're meant to do more. You're a healer. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Go to another event and I meet someone else and it's like, yeah, you're meant to do so much more and you're meant to help people in a deeper way. Not that life coaching isn't deep, but you're going to help people in such a bigger and deeper way than you already are. I kept hearing this again and again and again. And the message is repeating itself to me through people. And I kept feeling called as well on top of that, that I don't know what it is yet, right? I thought about this years ago, but it's something else. I feel like I'm going to open up my horizon and there's going to be something else. I just felt calling to learn more. And then people were messengers to you and continuously telling me the message, same message, but in a different way, if that makes sense. But when you try to ignore your intuition, it's going to often repeat itself because it's going to keep trying to get your attention. When something keeps coming up again and again in your mind or your heart, it's worth pausing and asking, why does this keep showing up for me? That's exactly what I did. Like, why do people keep telling me almost the same message? I also keep feeling called to look into more. What exactly? I'm not sure yet. But then I was getting like, I call them like breadcrumbs to, look into this or to fill into this, meaning I felt called to go on TikTok and I started seeing on my feed different psychic mediums that were coming up and I was watching them and I thought it was so interesting, right? And then getting free mini readings. And I was like, that is so interesting. Then I started to see a lot of the stuff they were doing. I've kind of done my whole life, not as my career, but I have experienced a lot of the similar things. Sometimes intuition whispers. And when we ignore it, it repeats itself and it gets louder and louder. Why logic often drowns out our intuition. Here's where things get a little tricky. Most of us were raised to trust logic over intuition, right? We're taught to analyze and weigh out the pros and cons to find proof before trusting something. Have you heard the saying most people say, seeing is believing? I won't believe into spiritual stuff until I actually can see it. But often when I talk to people like that, whether it's a client, friends, family, stranger that's sharing this with me, they've experienced something in their life that they can't quite explain. But they know that the brain and the way that they've been taught or in the society we live in, that there should be a reasonable explanation. Now, while logic absolutely has its place, it can sometimes override that quiet, intuitive voice within all of us. Least or intuition, tends to be calm, subtle, and quick. Logic tends to come in with louder questions like, what if this is wrong? What will people think? Is this the practical choice? Over time, if we only listen to logic and we start doubting our intuition, but reconnecting with your intuition is about reconnecting or rebuilding trust with yourself. It's about noticing those subtle signals and allowing them to guide you instead of dismissing them immediately. Now, let's try a fun intuitive journal prompt. If you want to start strengthening your intuition, journaling is a beautiful place to begin. And I know I've heard it many times. I don't want a journal, gal. It's not for me. I don't have time to do that. I'm telling you, if you take the time to connect with yourself and to take the pen, literally, and connect with your words and with your brain and yourself and nature, you will slowly start to connect more with your intuition and as well with nature. I love going out and connecting with nature and journaling. I go to the park, especially once it's getting a little warmer. So I'm so excited. But especially when it's warm, you hear the birds, you can hear the tree, like with the wind going through the leaves or the squirrels going through, the branches or the nuts. It's just connecting with nature and connecting with yourself and increasing your awareness as well as connecting with your intuition. Now, here's a quick prompt to help you sit with. When was the last time my intuition spoke to me? And how did it feel in my body? Take a moment to reflect on it. What sensations did you notice? And it's okay. Don't beat yourself up too if you cannot think of a time when your intuition came up right in this moment, but write that down. Write it down and pay attention going forward. And then you can come back and journal this a little bit deeper. When was the last time my intuition spoke to me and how did it feel in my body? What sensation did you notice? What emotions came up? Was it happiness, sadness, doubt? Whatever comes up, write it down. Did you listen to that inner voice or did logic take over? There's no right or wrong answer. There's simply about becoming more aware of how your intuition already is communicating with you. That's the most beautiful freaking thing. We all have our intuition feelings, good and bad, or ups and downs, right? Just like with that example, when you meet someone, you feel really, really connected with someone, or you meet someone and you're already reading their energy and picking up because you're so close within their vicinity or, area, whatever you want to call it. But take some time to journal that. And when you take the time to journal and reconnect with your intuition, you're going to start to see in your everyday life that, it's coming up all the time in your job, in your personal life, in anything that you do. So I'm going to give you another example. So I was walking my dog one day and I kind of just felt nudged to go a different route. And I was like, but I always go this route. This is the way my dog and I like to go. And I just felt really called, like, go a different route. Like, get out of that, get out of this park. And I'm like, but why? I'm like, I should listen, right? And feel like I feel something is nudging me and I should really listen. So I decided to not walk the path I normally do. And I started to notice this guy in particular that I've never noticed before was watching my dog and I. And I was like, okay, Now, if I would have went my normal route, I would have been deeper into the park and maybe possibly even put myself in harm's way, honestly. But if I stay out of the park, I'm more in a open area, and if I need help, someone's going to hear me, right? So I started to pay attention to this guy. And every time I turned around, walked a certain way or backwards, forward, he was doing the same thing. And he looked very suspicious because then he was like leaning up against a tree on his phone, had a cap on. I was like, I need to pay attention to this. And then I was like, I'm going to leave this area. And I felt called to not go home because you don't want someone who's following you to follow you home, right? So I was like, well, if I see kids like getting dropped off of their bus, parents picking them up, right in the neighborhood, if something happens, I'm going to freaking scream. So I decided to walk towards where there's more people, and this person stayed near the park. I called for help. I called the non-emergency line for officers to come out. A part of me was like, am I overthinking this? But then I'm like, I have always walked my dog for years now, and I've never ever felt this unsettling feeling of fear and unsafeness, right? So, long story short, I did call someone out, and they did go check out the area, and they were keeping an eye out for him. By the time the cops did come out, they couldn't find him, but most likely he walked somewhere around the neighborhood, right? But then they did say that they're gonna place officers in that particular park for the next few weeks or whatever it was gonna be. And they would, if I see him again, to give them a call, give them a description as well. And I just follow that intuition and my gut feeling. And then I made sure it was safe before I went home for myself and my dog, and really for me. And I'm sharing that story because when you feel something is off, trust that something is off, or you could be saving yourself, literally saving your life because you're feeling something in your gut. And I felt something was completely off in my gut. So I called for help. Now, the lesson I did learn from that was I was afraid and I was being followed. Next time I will call 911. I don't have to call the non-emergency line. The officer did tell me that if you're ever in fear and you feel the way you did this time, call 911 and you don't feel that it's important and you have to call the non-emergency line. But that's just a story that I wanted to share as well. That if you're ever in a situation that's similar, don't doubt that you're like making it up or anything like that, because on the daily, that doesn't happen to me, right? So same thing goes for you. On a daily, I highly doubt that happens or that you're just thinking that everyone's following you, right? So pay all and also pay attention to your environment and your have the awareness of what's going on around you. Just never know. So your intuition is always there. Remember that. It hasn't disappeared just because you're not paying attention. It's still there. Sometimes it's just been drowned out by the noise, expectations, and overthinking. The more you slow down and tune in inward, the easier it becomes to hear it again. I want to leave you with a few affirmations and I want you to repeat this. And repeat it anytime you feel that it's needed, or write them down a sticky note, put it in your mirror, or if you're on your vanity, anywhere where you're going to look or be at often, or on your monitor, especially if you work from home, anywhere in your home, maybe on the door before you walk out the door. But for right now, in this moment, I want you to repeat this and let's do it together. I choose to trust myself. I honor my intuition. I allow healing, clarity, and confidence to unfold naturally. I embody the light fully and unapologetically. Now, I'm going to pull a few cards, like I feel called to pull two, and I'm going to pull it for my life coaching deck here. That's ginormous. Have a couple of decks in the, I felt called to pull, or this deck, and I actually have another deck here, but I'm going to pull two, one from each. So we're going to pull from the life coaching oracle deck here real quick. This is kind of difficult to actually shuffle because the deck is so big, but we're going to do this. We're going to do this. All righty. Okay, let's pull the card. Celebration. Take time out to celebrate. This is a card that is reminding you right now, all the things you've been through, take time to celebrate that. And on top of that, celebrate that you are listening right now and tuning in and allowing yourself to reconnect with your intuition. If you're watching the video, you'll see the card. It's showing you sprouting and growing from this moment and forward. All right, let's pull one more from the Inner Child Oracle deck before we wrap this up today. Speak to yourself with kindness. Become aware of how you speak to yourself. The way you speak to yourself, you're also absorbing, and how you see yourself and view yourself is how others are going to see and view you as well. So now is the time to give yourself kindness, the kindness that you deserve, the kindness that you are giving to others. Give to yourself first. I'm feeling that you need to hear this because you've been having really negative self-talk. Now is the time to change that. Tune into your intuition. Tune into the way you're speaking to yourself and showing up in the world. The card is showing a beautiful field. There's butterflies flying. The sun is shining. And a person is walking in the middle of the field in this glowing, beautiful cape, which represents you. You are the center of attention. Step into your light. I always say this, like, stop letting people dim your light. Step into your light because you're the most important person. It's time to own it. Own everything you've been through and everything that's coming for you. So before we close this out today, this beautiful, safe container, place a hand on your heart. Let's do it together. And take one slow breath. Breathe in. Hold. And out. Make sure your out is longer than your in. Let's do one more. Breathe in. Hold and out. Do that as many times as you need to release anything that's holding back, to release that stress or any of that negative self-talk and any of the judgment of yourself for not listening and tuning into your intuition. Let it all go. And ask yourself now, what did this episode awaken in me today? Trust what comes through and also trust what you are ready to let go of. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes or any future conversations about spirituality, intuition, personal growth. And if you're feeling deeper, call to go deeper to gain clarity in your life, you can book a psychic or mediumship reading or a coaching session with me by visiting my website, www.galperino.com, and or also sign up for the newsletter that comes out monthly to give you life tips and mini tricks and tips, nuggets, so I like to call it. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Remember, your intuition is one of the most powerful guides that you have. Now is the time to tune into yourself, celebrate yourself. Remember, that's one of the cards that we pull, and to speak to yourself with freaking kindness. Keep showing up for yourself. I love you so much. I appreciate you, and I will catch you in the next episode. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. If you have any questions or any topics you want us to dive in deeper together, feel free to email me at lifecoach@galluperino.com. And I will see you again soon.